recently I had a rare opportunity to go out at night in Manchester, and I had my pass stamped, and I was lucky enough to be able to take my camera out and do a bit of photography. And what my intention was to take out the Canon Powershot G7X and use that to take some night shots, because the owner of that camera that I was borrowing it from was really enthusiastic, really keen, and really liked the fact that you can do these night pictures and get some light trails. And I explained that you don't need a super duper camera, you don't need an Olympus M1 or a Sony A1 or a Canon 5D, etc. You don't need one of those cameras to take night shots, long exposures, and that Canon Powershot G7X could do just as good a job. And I got my pass stamp and I decided to go into Manchester because I had that opportunity. I didn't know where I was going because Manchester's not somewhere that I really know. I've been sort of half a dozen times, but only for specific reasons to go to places. So I don't really know Manchester at all. So I got the map out, the tram map, and I put a pin on the map and I said, right, I'm going to go to that location and get off the tram there and then have an explore. Probably sounds a bit dangerous, really, going out into a big city at night on your own with loads of camera gear and not knowing where you're going. But that's what I did. So I got the tram and I went to a place called Deansgate Castlefield. I don't know whether it's called Deansgate or Castlefield or Deansgate Castlefield, or if that's a tram stop, I'm not sure. So what I did, I got off the tram at Deansgate Castlefield and I had a walk round and I was blown away. So obviously I'd often gone to London and taken night shots of London and day shots of London, much like you have. And I'd never done that in Manchester. And I came back thinking, why does anybody need to go to London? Manchester is fabulous. Deansgate Castlefield area, full of canals, full of boats, full of skyscrapers. It's amazing. I was blown away, I have to admit. I was absolutely blown away. So I managed to spend an hour or so walking around that little area of Manchester, taking lots of shots. And what I'm going to attempt to do in this video is show you those shots, show you the bits of footage that I managed to take, and hopefully I can describe to you what I was doing and the shots I was taking using the Canon Powershot G7X, and hopefully show you that you don't need all these fabulous cameras. You can take these long exposure shots with a point and shoot compact camera or your phone or anything really. So I'll get into the video and I'll try to do my best to voice over, if you like, some of the bits of footage that I completed while I was out, and hopefully you can enjoy this bit of a hybrid video. For the first shot, I've gone for a 4-second exposure, an f5. I don't want to go too high an f-stop because I'm not bothered about getting light stars, and I've gone for 4-second exposure. I think that's long enough. I'm going to try and wait for a tram to go by, as it's just doing now, and I'm going to attempt to get the big tall building as a reflection in this canal, and try to get the building in the background too. And I've gone for the widest focal length for this camera, which is 24mm. So I'll wait for the next tram to go by, and then I'll show you me taking that shot. Here comes the tram now, so I'm just going to take this shot now, wait for it to go past. I'm on a 4-second exposure. Here it comes, so I'm just going to press the button now. Away we go, 4 seconds. Tram's going past in the distance. Just about to see it, it's just focusing now. And that's my shot, so I will show that shot to you right now. Let's see how that's come out. I've come to the other side of the lock where I was, the other side of the bridge, and I found this composition. I've got another one of these tower blocks, and there's also a reflection in the water behind me. Unfortunately, the water's not as still as it was on the other side of that canal. It's quite breezy today. But what I'll do is I'll use the Canon Powershot G7X, and I'll attempt to take another shot of the tower block in the background, and I'll try to get the water smooth. So I'll do a much longer exposure to try to smooth out the water, because it's quite bumpy at the moment, and that'll help to make it a nice, soft, smooth water. So I'll just set that shot up now, and I'll show you what I'm doing when I'm taking it. For this shot, I've gone 13 seconds and f11. It doesn't seem to want to go any more than f11, so I'm going with that anyway. Once again, on my base ISO. So the idea is that I'm going to use the slowest shutter speed I can to soften out the ripples of this water. Hopefully 13 seconds is enough and f11 is sufficient. So I'm going to give this a go now, and we'll have a look at this one when it's taken. 1, 2, 3, and we'll start. I'm not sure where the 2-second timer is on this camera, but I'm just going for the button anyway. I think I've got long enough exposures for it to cope. I found this curvy bridge and I waited until the tram went past to get the tram in the shot as well. I went for a 4-second exposure, base ISO 125 and f8. Now, because of the equivalence of sensor size is 2.7 crop, then that f8 will give me something like f22 in full frame, and that's why I've got light stars in the image as well. I didn't really want light stars, but the fact that they're there, they look alright, so I was happy with that shot. I also took a few more shots of this bridge. The challenge I had with this bridge was that when anybody walked over it, it wobbled a bit like the Millennium Bridge in London, but this wobbled even more because it was a smaller bridge. So I had to make sure nobody was standing on the bridge while I was taking a shot. I was really quite impressed with the steps that came down from Deansgate Castlefield tram stop, and I loved the zigzag lines of them, and the green carpet, the plants on the back. It looked amazing, the colours looked great, it looks awesome. I went for, I think it was a 4-second exposure, f10. I don't know why I went f10, it seemed a bit random to go that long, but I did it anyway. And the big challenge I had with the camera and the settings was that I just left it on JPEG, and it was a low JPEG as well, so I wasn't able to edit the pictures very well after at home, hence why the lights in this image are blown out too much and it looks awful. But I just love the idea of this shot despite the fact that the lights have been blown out. On my way back, I stopped at the tram stop and I wasn't sure if I was allowed to use my tripod, because I was told that you're probably not allowed to use a tripod at the tram station. So I gambled and used my tripod, and I was trying to be as quick as I can. In the video, what I was trying to explain was you don't need to have a 10, 20, 30 second exposure. So when you do these long exposure shots, all you need is for long enough for the vehicle, the tram, the train, the bus, that whatever it is that's going past your lens, you just need long enough for that to pass. Don't need a very long exposure, because if you do use too long exposure, you really have a risk of blowing out the highlights, and you don't want to do that. So you want to try to get your exposure correct. So, and if that means a 4-second exposure, which most of the pictures I took of the trams, and I took quite a few of them, was for about 4 seconds. That's all I needed, because any longer and it would have blown out the lights, and especially as I'm using a JPEG, and I wouldn't have anywhere near as much flexibility trying to get the picture back into post-processing. So I hope you enjoy these pictures in and around the Deansgate Castlefield tram station, and I enjoyed taking them, in truth. Thanks very much indeed for watching the video, and apologies that this is a kind of hybrid at home and out on scene video, and it's not all together. I did make a few noob YouTube video mistakes. Firstly, I forgot to press, or I didn't press the record button a couple of times on my earlier parts of my video. And secondly, I was a bit worried that the battery on my microphone was going to run out, so I kept stopping it and starting it, and of course, not being clever, I forgot to start it, and thinking I'd started it and recorded lots of different footage without any sound. But I hope that hasn't diminished for the interest, the entertainment of this video, and I hope you've enjoyed this little snapshot of Manchester. I certainly loved it. I loved the place, and I urge anyone to go to Manchester if you have the opportunity. And obviously, if you have enjoyed this video, if you have liked it, come on, give it a like. That would be amazing. And if you like the content I'm producing, the photography content in particular, why not subscribe to the channel? It's free, it's easy, it really is that simple. Click the button and you're in, and you're part of the team. Thank you very much again for watching. See you in the next one. Cheerio.